September 16th County Commission meeting to order. For all those capable, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you do the roll call.
Commissioner Neil Younger.
Present.
Chair Michael Burgess.
Here.
Commissioner Nathan Liker.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Any changes to the order of business? Okay, no executive session. For the public, I told Neil here, for me, no changes to the order. However, I do have to leave before 10 o'clock. I have an obligation for work to make a presentation to the Dane Jean Hansen board this morning at 10. So wherever we are on the agenda at that point, I'll have to excuse myself, and the fellow commissioners will have to take it up from there. So we'll try to get through what we can, and if I have to leave before then, I apologize, but that's the obligation I have this morning. Prior minutes, any changes or modifications needed?
Prior minutes look good.
No.
I need consent agenda.
Good. I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, items A through G.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second on the table on the consent agenda. Any comments or modifications?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No opposed, passes 3-0. Issues from persons not on the order agenda. I know we got a full house here, so we have several topics I'm sure people want to speak on, but these would be topics that you want to address to the commission that are not on the agenda. Moving on, monthly department report. Any comments?
No. Good.
Things are moving along pretty well this summer. A lot of road work.
A lot of, yeah.
Appreciate it. First item then, Stork Award. Rachel Barnes, Mr. Jeff Ridgway, Communications Director.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
With me this morning is Rachel Barnes, one of our dispatchers for our center. On April 5th of 2025, dispatcher Rachel Barnes answered a 911 call that a woman was in active labor in rural Ellis County. Dispatcher Barnes quickly instructed the caller to gather towels and began giving instructions. A baby was born about 1 minute later. Dispatcher Barnes started giving instructions to the caller to ensure that the baby was breathing and was wrapped up. She also advised the caller to check in if the placenta had been delivered itself and what to do if it had not. The call lasted approximately 16 minutes. Dispatcher Barnes utilized her professionalism and personal experience to keep the caller and the mother calm. For bringing calm assurance and instructions to the chaos when a new baby wins the race against the responders to the scene, I'd like to recognize Rachel Barnes with our Stork Award. This is the second time Dispatcher Barnes has received this award. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. RHID public hearing resolution, Dominic Eck, Gilmore and Bell. Adam, you want to present? You want to open anything at this time? Any opening comments or anything? Or you want us to just go into public comment?
No, I thought you called me up. I was
Okay.
stepping in glue down there. So.
Okay. So at this time, I'm going to move to open the public hearing.
He just walked in.
Okay.
Okay.
See, we want to have him come up. Dominic, you want to?
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Gilmore and Bell. The order of business today is the final step in the RHID creation process, is to hold a public hearing on the matter and then consideration of a resolution to formally create the RHID district, which would also approve the development agreement related to the project. The development agreement has been drafted to set forth kind of the eligible costs that would be able to be paid with increment generated by the new development. It sets forth kind of the obligations of the developer in order to access those funds and their requirements as far as submitting documentation showing that they have actually incurred those RHID eligible costs. And so happy to answer any questions that you may have on the process or the program.
Are these expenses or costs incurred, is there any direct cost to us as in the county? Or is that through the developer and he gets reimbursed?
It's a reimbursement program, so the developer would pay all of the costs of the project up front, and then over time, as increment is generated, it would be segregated into a separate bucket, if you will, by the treasurer, and then the developer could request reimbursement from those segregated funds. There's reimbursement is not available from any other funds of the county. It is only available through those segregated incremental property taxes generated by this property from the new construction and development.
Okay, thank you.
I have nothing.
Okay,
So at this time, we'll move to open the public hearing for the Big Creek Estates Third Edition RHID.
I will second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second on the table. Any discussion before?
No?
All those in favor say aye.
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 No opposed, passes 3-0. Those in the public that would like to speak to the commission on this topic on the RHID, please approach the podium and state your name and
I'm Larry Dinkle with my wife Christy, and we live on Southview. And we have had talks with some of the neighbors in the area, and we've also went around and had 25 petitions done. I don't know if you guys have seen those, of people that are against the new development in that area. A lot of the concerns in our area is water. We are all on private water wells. We're worried about what the water status is like in that aquifer. We're worried about what contamination could happen to the wells. As you guys know, City of Hayes is always low on water. We're looking for water. We can't find water. What's the plan if something happens to get water to us? One of the other things we have is sewer. With the City of Hayes right now, with Big Creek Sewer District, the sewer gets pumped to them and then they charge us a fee. Well, our fees in the last few years have went up from 36 to 56, and now they are going up from 56 to 86 starting in January. So that is a big concern to us too, with adding more flow rates, more sewage. Is the city just gonna keep increasing our sewage? Because $86 just for sewage, that's a pretty good chunk of change. And then the next concern is the roads. I know all of you have drove the roads out there. I've replaced struts on our cars, and that's a $3,000 bill right there just to replace the struts. The roads are pothole, cratered, washboard, and then when they come and grade and they pull the ditches up, it's just a pure solid sheet of mud. Next question we have is with the RHID, I guess there's a lot of confusion with it. From my understanding is the taxes are for the average home that he's wanting to build are $3,400 for tax range. $720, I believe it was, is going towards USD and the taxes part for the county, and the rest of it is paying out the RHID? Is that the way I'm understanding that?
Well, the taxpayers would still be obligated to pay their full tax, whatever they're appraised at.
Yes.
So they'll still pay, the state will still get their portion, the 20 mills and the 1.5 mills. Other entities would. The school and the county would be foregoing those taxes that it creates at this time, just on those homes to repay the development for the infrastructure being put in. So the school and the county would forego for what, I think it's 20 years on this. The other, but they're still paying their taxes. They're just paying for the infrastructure that goes into their own development this time.
Okay. So basically, the county is just not gonna be getting anything from it until it's done?
Right. And at this time, that piece of land gives the county $17 a year is all it generates.
Okay.
So that's, the challenge here is, could it be developed anyway? Possibly it could be. We're not here to decide whether it can or can't be developed. It's the chance of, can it be developed quicker, so that way the county can collect taxes sooner at a larger amount than waiting for 10 or 20 years at an empty field that's only generating $17 a year.
So what about like our roads out in that area? Is there a plan to do something with those, because they're?
2,000 feet of the road is part of the RHID.
Reservation
Road.
From Canterbury to Logan Drive,
Mhm.
I believe, is looking at, according to RHID, would be paved from Canterbury over to the second entrance of the Big Creek Addition. So that would be on Reservation Road only. The interior roads, we've been working with Brendan to try and, we've created extra positions in the county for maintenance to try and work with that. I know Brendan's actively working on trying to figure out how to help improve some of the interior roads that are out there.
Okay. And then like water?
None of us are geologists, and I don't even know if a geologist can guarantee you water in the future.
But is there like, what would be a plan to, if something were happen, I mean, we got 300+ homes out there on water well.
Well, let me tell you, it is no advantage to either the county, the city, or anybody to make your homes less valuable, because that's what provides the infrastructure for everybody. So that's the bridge that probably has to be crossed if it ever comes up. But it does us no good to make your home worth nothing. And a home without water is worth nothing. So that is not anybody's goal or intention.
Okay. I guess that's really all I got right now.
And if Darren would pull up page 93, it pretty well tells you what the county will do. And we're looking for the future for everybody's kids, that type of deal, what it's gonna generate, you know, as far as on taxes and stuff. So if that helps you out. Water, I've talked to, well, one of them is no longer here, but Mr. Fawn still said there was adequate water. I know we're adding, but I guess it's not about water. It's gonna be them 380-some people. We all need to get together and figure out something and get some water out there. Because if not, it could be contaminated upstream, and there you are. Not even in your development. It could be northwest of here, it could be anywhere.
I was gonna say, because I know we always talk about grow haze and that, and I mean, you know, there are 300 homes out there, you know, we're all taxpayers and stuff, so it would just be nice to have that guarantee that if something does happen, there is something in place to where, you know, because, I mean, banks won't even give you a loan for a house without water. So,
I met with one of the city people yesterday, and we'll probably all three commissioners here have some discussion with them on maybe doing something. It's right there. It's a lot of users there. It would help the city out also as far as supplying you guys with water, especially with development there.
okay. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
And then as far as if Dwayne, if you would come up and talk just a little bit on the sewer part of it, is it that much of an additional load?
My name is Dwayne Kuhn, and I am the president of Big Creek Improvement District. As far as the sewer goes, we can handle everything that we have at the present time. It depends on the elevations, which, I mean, we have to have somebody come in that's a professional and let us know what we have to do to add on that extra addition. All the previous contractors have done that, and that's what we expect from Adam. So, but at the present time, they would probably have to add another pump because of the elevation of where, and that's just what we have so far. I mean, it hasn't been confirmed by any contractors or anybody.
Okay.
So,
So with your existing system, you're not having to upgrade pumps and?
no.
Okay.
No, we would probably have to add another pump
Okay.
for a number of homes in that area.
Okay.
So, but we're able to handle what we have at the present time.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Clarification on how that district, I guess, allocates the bill. From my understanding, and certainly tell me if I'm wrong or clarify it, the city of Hayes essentially collects all the sewage, and there's one bill, and then
Yes.
every entity within that, you just divide that equally amongst everything. So I
Yes.
think is Pepsi part of that? So they essentially pay the?
No, Pepsi is actually on you guys.
Okay,
It's on the city. They're on the city. There's a line that runs on 040 out to the airport.
Okay.
And so the businesses down at that end are tied in there. There's a few businesses on the front, and they get charged accordingly, you know.
okay,
So the biggest one that we probably have right now is going to be cards. And they're in the process of putting a meter to let us know how much
Okay.
they're putting into the system.
but otherwise, all the other homes,
It's through a meter
It's
system.
all
It's
$86.
metered into the city.
is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's metered into the city, and we're charged cubic feet, just like city people are.
Okay.
Only at a higher rate. And the city's not willing to negotiate that part anymore, so
And that is a contract?
it's a contract with the city, yeah. Yeah, and basically all they do is treat our water. The solids are contained, and then we have it pumped out about every 3 months by hurdles. And so we take care of pretty much the solid part of it. And the city tells us that we're right under the max that they can charge us. So if they raise the city rates, they can raise ours, and the current contract says they can raise it anytime they feel necessary, so.
Is it a year-to-year contract?
Well, it's a 10-year contract with a stipulation that
Letter.
if they need to raise it, they can,
Okay.
yeah. I don't understand why they can't be more fair about the amount that we have to pay. Like I said, basically, we're a cash cow to the city.
Because it's, I mean, 36, 56, 86, I get that argument. However, that's been the increase without any, I mean, without any additional homes, so
Yeah.
to get that additional homes would
Pay the
add some
same
usage. However, you've already had a big increase without anything being developed anyway, so.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
the
kinda-
increases come whether the homes are built or not.
Okay,
That's just the city rate.
okay.
They charge us for outside city users. We're all neighbors. I don't know why they can't charge us the same that they charge the city. But they put an ordinance in there a number of years ago when we had another existing contract, and said that they can charge outside city users more than they charge inside city. We get no services from the city whatsoever. I mean, all they do is accept our water and treat it like they would the city people. And so I just don't feel like they treat the outside city user fairly. They're still making money.
And you guys have had that discussion with the city, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we tried to negotiate a contract with them, and they just wouldn't negotiate in good faith. So, this is where we're at.
But that has nothing, that goes through our commission. That is
Yeah.
your specific district alone.
It's our district, and you guys, I mean, we pay our taxes out there to you guys. Little help from you guys would have been nice, I guess, but, you know, we've had outside people try to help, but like I said, the city just don't budge. They have us right under the top max that they can charge us,
Okay.
so.
Well, until we started talking about this RHID, I don't think, I know I had no idea of any problem out in that area, so.
Well, the first contract, or the contract that just led up was a 20-year contract. And so as soon as that thing was up, we started negotiating, or actually we started about 6 months before, and we couldn't get any response from the city. And they waited till the last minute and presented us with a contract with basically no negotiation on it. They just said, this is what you're gonna pay. And I don't know, you know, like I said, we got 300 and some people out there. Most of it, the biggest majority are 3 trailer parks, low income. These people in those trailer houses can't afford $86 a month. But that's what they're gonna have to pay. I don't have a choice. I can't pay it out of my pocket. These guys aren't gonna pay it out of their pockets. We gotta take care of those 3 trailer parks. They don't care.
Gotcha.
So, my hands are tied.
Okay.
Anything else, guys?
I don't think so. Thank you.
Did I
Dwayne.
answer your
Thank you, Dwayne.
questions?
Yes, it did.
All right.
Thank you.
I have a letter that I wanted to give you guys. James Graham can't be here today. He had to be out of town for work. He
Yep.
asked me to
I
give
think
this to
we-
you guys.
Yep.
That floor's nice and sticky. And I don't want to rehash everything that I know Larry Dinkle presented all this. But the one thing, I mean, the comment is that, you know, if you run out of water, we don't want to see that happen because it's going to be devastating to the community and everything else. Well, imagine for the people living out there, how devastating it'll be for them. You know, people have homes out there that right now they're selling for $400,000, $500,000. You lose water, you have nothing. Yeah, you guys will lose your taxes, but we lose everything we own. And that's the thing that, I mean, everybody you talk to, that's their #1 concern. So, you know, and I know there's no guarantee. We could run out of water tomorrow without an additional home. And I mean, my dad was city superintendent for 45 years. I worked for the city for years, you know, and we had to go get new wells for the city, just like Hayes has been trying to do. But the problem that we're having is whenever I bought my house 12 years ago, I think it was Keith Fonestill was the one that I talked to that had to come and pull my well and redo it for me. He stated at the current status of where we're at with our houses, we were okay. He said, now if we try to develop further, he says, you never know. He says, water can, you know, additional homes, you're gonna see because you're gonna have more lawns, you're gonna have a lot more people out there. And the thing of it is you're talking about the sewer and talking about the sewer rate. We did have a development to our east that came in before our sewer rates was raised up. Now, I'm not saying that those homes are the cause of our raising our rates, but we did have an increase in our sewer flow going through. So if you're gonna add more homes and you're gonna have all those people planting their yards and everything, you're gonna have a lot of water usage. One thing I was told, and I don't know if it's true or not, I've talked to several people, and they said you can actually do a water survey to see how the water table is doing. You know, is it steady, is it dropping, you know, things like that. And I would hate to see a development go in and then all of a sudden you're short on water. Well, we're sure sorry about that. I wish there had been something we could do before, you know, this happened. Well, there is something. If there actually is a water survey that can be done to find out how our water table is. You know, I don't know if you guys ever have to do that or not, or have been involved in anything like that. But I do know there is a way to measure the water table, you know, and you can do it periodically to see how the table is. So, and the other thing is, you know, we're finally maybe possibly getting our roads done. I've been here, like I said, I bought my house 12 years ago. We had 2 buses go off the road a couple of years ago, and called up asking for something to be done. Nothing's been done with the road, but now all of a sudden we're talking about putting on a few more houses, 15 more houses or whatever. Now all of a sudden we might get a paved road. You know, I can't understand why we've had to call in and beg for something to be done with our roads for all that time. I mean, I've measured on our street, the big creek that comes off of Reservation Road, there's a hole over there that's 10 inches deep. And I had to call trying to see if we can't get somebody out there with a grader. Whenever they come and grade it, they slide the sand over in the hole. The next day, the hole's right there, our ruts are all there. It's not helping us, and I'm talking about our internal roads. I mean, Reservation Road, like I said, if you drive over to the east, it's terrible, like you said, you know, until at least the second entrance in our development. And yeah, it'd be great to have the paved road out there. But like I said, we've been begging that for a long time, and now the addition of 15 more houses that's what's going to get it for us. You know, like we said, we have a ton of other houses out there that've been paying taxes for a long time, and we haven't ever been able to get anything like that. So, you know, like I said, once again, you can't say it enough. The water's the #1 thing. We stand to lose everything if we don't do something about checking to maintain or check and see how our water levels are. And yeah, I understand that something could happen down, you know, upstream or whatever, you know, and that could happen. But this is going to happen if everything moves forward. And the other thing is, and I don't know, can you tell me what was the pump? We did that lift station. How much did that lift station cost to redo?
To redo?
Yeah.
Recently, about $18,000.
$18,000? So we have one lift station. They said it cost about $18,000 to redo. We put in another lift station. That's going to be another maintenance that everybody out there has to pay for. So that's the other thing, is that'll be in addition to everything else that we're already paying for. So, and 15 houses that go out there aren't going to pay for the lift station by themselves. So that, like I said, that'll be an addition burden, or.
Well, that's not entirely true. That lift station is part of this RHID, which would be reimbursed. They would put that in.
They put it in, but what I'm saying is we have to go through and maintain our lift station. So
Right.
if we're having to spend.
Which would probably part of your monthly assessed fees of maintenance.
Second lift station. Right now, we have all those homes that are paying for one lift station. To where you add a 15 and you have 2 lift stations, then you only have an additional 15 homes paying for that.
But those additional 15 homes also help pay for any work on the first lift station.
Right, but compared to how many homes are out there now. So
I'm just saying,
yeah, I understand.
It's
but
the
what I'm saying
argument of
is,
taxes
it's
all the
just-
way around.
I understand, but without the other lift station, we don't have an additional cost to worry about. If something happens lift station, then everybody's going to have to, I mean, because if they have an issue and they don't have enough money to pay for it, they're going to have to raise our rates again. And like I said, an additional lift station is going to be another risk that we might have to maintain, which we will have to maintain. So like I said, if there's a way to do a water survey and it turns out that everything's fine with our water, the water table's great, it's going to support us, I think everybody's going to be pretty well satisfied that they don't have to worry about it. If the water survey's not done, everybody's going to sit and worry about the water. So, but I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
For the record, would you state your name?
Oh, my name's Duff Watson, I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
And as far as your lift station, there's 13 or 15 houses on it, the maintenance is gonna be very minimal comparing to 384. So, yes, it's still gonna be maintenance, just like the water. But I'm gonna suggest that your township people start researching some stuff for getting a water line put in out there. Bad thing is, you guys are in that air flight where you can't put a standpipe up and have your own little water district. That's one of the things that they may want to research on.
Is putting up a standpipe.
Have your own water. You know, that's something to discuss with the city, you know. Hey, can you get us? We're kind of right in the air flight for the airport, so, yeah. So,
I guess, kind of at this time, just for clarifications, and I think, Darren, you messaged me, but would you like to talk about the process? This RHID process right now is just the beginning to whether or not this development actually proceeds. So that way, people aren't confused that this is, the RHID is a tool for developers. And if we allow the tool to go forward, there's multiple other hoops for development to jump through.
Yeah, and Dominic might be able to jump on for any additional explanation. But yeah, the first process is the RHID, which establishes the district, so that way the assessments can be created, collected, and then reimbursed for the developer on that roughly $600,000 in expenses for the road, the new road, the improved road, the sewer lines, the sewer districts, the water wells, the electrical, the gas, and everything that they have to do to get the houses ready to be built. The next step after this that Mr. Praise started is the platting process, and that goes through our environmental planning and zoning committee to create the plat as part of your documentation and your agenda item. It's pre-platted out there already for the work that he's done. I don't remember the survey company that he used. I'm looking for Adam, but I don't see him. But that's the next step. So it'll go to the Planning and Zoning Commission to review that plat. The preliminary plat will come back to the County Commission for approval. If the commission doesn't have any suggested changes, or if there are some, that work is then redone, goes back to the Planning Commission for a public hearing as well. Once that public hearing is approved and the Planning and Zoning Commission wants to proceed, that comes back to a recommendation again for the County Commission to approve the new plat. And then the plat process is completed at that time. And then it's still up to the developer on completing his obligation to the RHID. So if it's set out for 20 years, but the development is never, and Dominic, please explain to me if I'm wrong, if the developer were not to build a single home in the next 20 years, but incurs that $600,000 expense, that $600,000 expense does not get reimbursed.
Yeah, that's correct. If there's nothing constructed, then there would be no incremental tax revenues generated, and so there would be nothing with which to reimburse the developer for their expenses. So it's their risk to go out and incur the expenses and get development started out there with the incentive of, once you do have new valuation on the tax rules, that's creating that increment, then you can flow back to a reimbursement scenario. But as discussed earlier, there's no other avenue to be reimbursed through separate county funds. It's solely what's generated by new development on the property. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So there are multiple steps. If Adam would choose not to have it platted or platted differently than under here, the development plan and all that would have to change. The cost estimates would have to change, et cetera. But this is just that first step to start what his proposed plan is that you see in your agenda today.
Okay. All right. And as far as the environmental, is Justin here? I guess I didn't see him.
Justin Craig, Environmental Services Director.
Justin, would you explain kind of some of the process that you're going to go through for this?
So it would start with a pre-planning conference, so I'm assuming Adam would come to me. We would discuss what he has put together so far. Then we would go through the process of a public hearing for the preliminary plat approval. So that way everybody would be notified within 1,000 feet. We'll set a date and a meeting time down here, hopefully. The planning and zoning will hear that information. They can listen to the public speak, and they'll make their recommendation on the preliminary plat, which I will then bring to the county commission for any suggestions or edits, changes, whatnot on the preliminary plat. Once that's approved, they will have a year to submit a final plat application. We'll go through the planning and zoning meeting. We don't advertise a public hearing, but it is a public meeting that anybody can attend. Once that's approved, that'll come back to the county commission for final approval on the plat.
Okay. Are there any studies that we do for water or sewer or anything like that?
Any what, I'm sorry?
Are there any studies that we do for water or sewer, anything along those lines?
There's nothing required in the regulations, but it can be required through, recommended through the planning and zoning, or the county commission can recommend that as part of a step for the final plat application, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Thank you. sorry for taking public comment time.
This time, we're still in public comment, so any further comments?
Good morning, Adam Prey. There was a few comments I just wanted to touch on, and I also want to say I have been contacted by several of the residents out there, so I really appreciate that, calling me and getting some information. Mr. Dinkle's talking about water contamination. As far as contamination goes, we leave that up to the professionals. Obviously, we trust that they're going to do a job, and they've got their process to hopefully prevent contamination. Water, we've talked to both Karst. Unfortunately, Mel is no longer with us, and then Keith Fonestill. Both of them have said that the wells out there are better than some of the city wells, and if we ever ran out of water out there, we'd have a problem in Ellis County. So no guarantee that we won't run out of water, but my understanding is the water's excellent. As far as testing, every time we've drilled a well out there, they always test the wells. So we've drilled wells, they're 65 feet deep. We've hit water anywhere from 28 to 32 feet, depending on which lot we've hit it at. So we've got roughly 37 feet of water, give or take, in each well, and then they'll test them. And the pumps that they use, they test very well. So we've had really good water so far out there. And if anybody has any concerns, I highly recommend talking to whether it be Karst or Keith or any water professional. Most people have drilled out there. They know the wells out there. Sewer, my understanding, whether we put this in or not, it's not going to affect our sewer rates whatsoever. The amount that we're going to calculate, obviously, we're going to pay for all the infrastructure, and it shouldn't cost any more to the development, from what I understand. Us paving the roads, we didn't have to do that. That's something we chose to do. We're obviously working with the county, so appreciate you guys working with us. And another comment I would make is some of us may be familiar with Hilltop. Hilltop is all getting together, and they're going to do a chip seal over the interior roads. How that'll work is through specials. I think we have an opportunity to do the same thing here in Big Creek Estates, and I think it's something we should look at. The cost to do it is pretty inexpensive, and you could have a completely paved development for very little expense. So that's something I'm going to push. We're going to have a meeting. I'm going to get with Dwayne here at some point in the near future, and we'll have a meeting and talk about that. But while we're paving the road from Reservation to Logan, it might be something to consider paving the rest of it. So I think we can really improve the roads out there, and it would be a win-win for all. And I think that's all I have, so if you guys have any questions, that's it.
How, and this is with the water, it's not with the RHID, but it pertains to it. How many of the residents out there water yards, so we don't get in that situation like Wichita was almost in with the, is there quite a few of them? Can anybody answer that question? I see a lot of heads nodding. Okay. See, that's part of the thing, but you can't, but I guess what do they want? Do they want green grass, or they want water for their house and that type of deal? Everything affects it. That would be the luxury of having your own water district where you could, but that's a big expense, but there's funding out there. Just has to be researched. Okay, thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
My name is Joanne Wilhelm. I live on Big Creek Drive out there. I concur with some of the concerns that people have already raised, so I don't want to add to that. But I do want to ask a question and perhaps just understand stormwater runoff. When we first moved out there, we had our entire backyard was flooded, and the county came in and they put additional culverts in and kind of redirected a lot of the water, which has been a big help, no doubt about that. I think they made that ditch across from us deeper so that it would hold more water. But what's the implication of adding 15 houses in that area that really wasn't, when Doug Shaw originally platted that, it was not planned for that many homes. It was platted for a couple of rural, large acreages, and then green space is what it was originally platted for. And now this is being changed to put 15 homes in there. How does the stormwater runoff going to be impacted, or what's going to be done to handle that so there isn't, I know we're not in a flood zone, but there is a lot of water that runs through there, and it comes from the north. I believe when they put the new culverts in and kind of redirected that, there was concern about some old oil field equipment that was to the north of us that might contaminate some of that stormwater if it just sat there. So I guess it's just questions I have, and how that would be handled or impacted.
Adam, can you answer that if you're gonna have a retention pond?
Adam Prey again. So there are 15 lots. One of the lots is going to be a retention pond. That's lot number 15 there at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. So that will be our retention pond. The water does drain from north to south and then from west to east. So as far as impacting anybody, all the homes are north, and I don't think it would impact any current properties, even if we didn't put a retention pond in. But the highlighted lot will be a retention pond for stormwater. So that was one of the things we do have to do, is put in a retention pond. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Christy Dinkle. I have a question about the retention pond. We have a lot of kids out there. So, if you have a pond full of water, is it protected in any way? We had a retention pond several years ago when the development started, it'd be to the northwest corner of that area. And several of the neighbors in that area complained about it due to the smell, lots of mosquitoes, so on and so forth, and the county came in and filled it in. So it just concerns me that if that pond, just almost 2 to 3 city blocks northwest of that corner, didn't make it, how this one will, and is it protected?
I'm just going to park up here. The pond isn't intended to hold water. It's more green space for water to go to. So there's no intention for water to be there. I don't expect water. It may pool there, and if it does, it's going to be after a couple-inch rain, I would expect. It is not intended to be a pond, although it's termed a pond. So we're not going to put any bentonite in it. We're not going to make it hold water. It's more so a green space for water to run to and dissipate. So no, we're not going to protect it. No, we don't intend on water. If water does pool, it'll be ankle deep, and it shouldn't be there for long unless we have quite a bit of rain. So we aren't digging a pond. We're just letting it water dissipate as required per statute. So.
And there's several just around Hayes. You go watch when it rains. They drain out relatively quick, and the water's gone within 2 days at the least.
I mean, if you want to know my opinion, water's not going to pond there. It's going to continue to run through because we're going to have culverts and a way for it to drain to the south and to the east like it does already. But we do have to have enough green space for water to go to. So there won't be any fish in there. There won't be any pond. If there is, it'll be very minimal amount of time. So. Thank you.
At this time, I'll acknowledge a couple that aren't here and just make sure it's part of the public record. So we were handed a resolution from Duff, a resolution number 1, 2025, a resolution in open opposition to establishment of reinvestment housing incentive district, RHID, within the Big Creek Township, Ellis County, Kansas, from the land designated as Block 5, Big Creek Estates, Ellis County, Kansas, signed by the Big Creek Township Executive Board, Casey Herman, Treasurer, Duff Watson, Clerk, and James Graham, Trustee. Each of the commissioners have seen it. Our council's also seen it. I'll also acknowledge Some emails that I received from Carrie, I'm going to probably say the name wrong, Turnin, James Graham emailed us as well, David Reed, and Myron and Monica Dryling. So those individuals, they may or may not be here, but they did email us, so I just want that as part of our public record and public comments. Any further comments? I will move to close the public hearing for the Big Creek Estates 3rd Edition RHID.
I'll second it.
Okay, got a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any further comments from the commission at this time? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No opposed, passes 3-0. So we'll move into the resolution. Before we do, I do have some questions, additional questions that I just want some clarification on. I wanted to kind of wait till after public comment to kind of raise these questions in. So the water survey or covenants on water, I believe in Yosemite, when we looked at that one being planted, we ended up, they had some covenants on how much water they could irrigate or put in, I believe. And so I guess my question, it might be for Dominic a little bit on this, is there a water survey part of the current RHID? If that's necessary at this time, we do have a whole plating process to go through. Are those steps that would be part of, that we could request in that process through plating, either covenants on water or water surveys and these kind of things?
Yeah, great question. So we don't have anything like that in the development agreement. We don't have, there's nothing statutory about that as far as specific to the RHID program. You can place additional requirements on the development and the developer for participation in the RHID program that is separate and apart from the plating process, right? So if requirements to participate in the RHID program become such that the developer says, okay, well, I don't want to participate in that program, doesn't mean they can't still submit a plat and try to develop the property throughout your normal plating process. And so, then you would have to also look at it there. So you could place that as a stipulation through the development agreement for the RHID program. Conversely, I'd look to Mr. Jeter as far as what steps would be appropriate through the plating process in kind of the normal course of development as well.
Another question. The increment change, I need, I guess, a little more clarification on it. So right now, is it the increment change, the houses would say it's a $300,000 house. Next year, it's appraised, would say it's $320,000. Is that the increment change, or is it the increment change from essentially zero now to a $300,000?
Yeah, it's the latter. So the base valuation is set upon establishment of the district.
Okay.
So if the district were to be approved today, that is the base valuation of that property, and anything above that from this day throughout the term of the agreement will go into that increment bucket.
Okay.
In the feasibility, we have just kind of a steady state valuation because we're trying to predict the future, right? And we don't know what the future is going to be, so you make assumptions and you put them in there and say, okay, if it's only steady state, it would take this long. If valuations come in higher, if they grow along the way and the increment is created quicker, then the RHID would shut down sooner and those properties would contribute to all jurisdictions at a sooner date than later. And so this is kind of the conservative way to do it, to say, hey, if these valuations stick at this rate and kind of just stay stagnant throughout the time, maybe it'll take 20 years to pay back. If you get a higher average valuation and you get growth along the way, maybe it'll take 14 years to pay back or something of that nature. But you got to come with some sort of assumptions, and so that's kind of the conservative case assumption we've laid out in there.
Okay.
But as soon as you reach that cap, as far as eligible expenses being fully repaid, you can turn that off, and then taxes would just flow as per any other property within the county.
Lift station, so the repair, so this RHAD covers putting in a lift station. but it's been raised, so what if that lift station over the 25 years or 10 years or however it becomes damaged, needs repairs?
Yeah.
Is that a collectible expense for that area, or is that now a collectible expense for the whole area?
Yeah, really good question. It could be. Under the development agreement we have now, no, the developer will incur costs for the installation of that lift station, right? And then will be reimbursed for those costs. Whoever incurs those costs at a later date for, say, a repair, could request, if the RHID is still in place, to have RHID funding help to offset those costs. Now, you know, they'd be second in line behind these additional costs, and then the RHID would still have to be going, so it would require some amendments kind of to the plan. And then, you know, reimbursement of costs would go to the party that incurred the costs. So if the sewer district was the one that incurred those costs, then, you know, we'd have to enter into some sort of agreement between the county and the sewer district as far as getting that reimbursed and what those terms would look like and when they would be. But as a capital cost of infrastructure for that development, if it is related to that lift station that is within the boundaries of the RHID, you could, down the line, have the ability to redirect some of that increment towards that repair.
So you're saying that RHID, say it takes 6 years, they have issues with their lift station. Is that going to cover that until the full development is done?
It is not as currently written.
Okay.
Because as currently written, what we have stated in here is, developer, you have the ability to be reimbursed for the installation of a lift station.
Okay.
We don't have the ability for any party to be reimbursed for a repair of a lift station.
Okay.
Now, that being said, the RHID is a county-level program. And so the county imposes the RHID, the county collects and segregates those revenues for costs. The development agreement allows a third party to gain access to those funds. A county can also expend funds from an RHID for eligible costs. So you could, you know, set up an RHID for this development and have the county pay all the original costs and then the county be entitled to reimbursement. You could also say, well, we have to set this up, the developer is going to pay all of these initial costs, but hey, as the county, we recognize down the line, there's some additional costs here that we'd like to see, you know, paid through RHID. And so down the line, you could work on that. Now, the development agreement's going to give the developer the rights to the first increment until they're paid off. But to the extent that it generates excess increment, you could have a county-initiated project that is RHID eligible and utilize RHID funds as your funding source for that. Or you could work with another third party, sewer district, what have you, to say, hey, we've got good additional costs here. Can we come utilize some of that RHID increment to offset those costs down the line? So that's where it would require kind of an additional document set to say, yes, okay, we will let you have access to that. It's going to be subordinate to the original request, but if everything goes well and it's paying off well, and there is some cushion there, it could help to offset some additional infrastructure type costs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that something that should be done at this time, or is that something that could be done at a later date?
You can certainly do that at a later date. You know, the question there would be, you know, do we know who is going to have those costs? Do we have a good idea of what they want to be? Are we certain that those are the costs that we definitely want to reimburse? We could try to work through some of those questions and see how we would allocate and what, but there would certainly need to be a process at some point for, hey, this is a somewhat unforeseen cost, so how do we verify it and put that in line down the road?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So, and at what point does Big Creek take over ownership of that new addition as far as the sewer line? Or is that going waste?
So that's again, that's kind of outside of the RHID, and that goes
Okay.
back to the normal just development process of the county. Typically, you know, when infrastructure's put in, then if a private party's gonna put it in, then they'll deed it over to, you know, the sponsoring entity at some point. But again, I'd probably look to Mr. Jeter on that one.
Okay.
Okay. I call Justin Craig. Would you come back up for one clarification on a question? As far as, I guess, plating and zoning, it kind of sounds like this area was intended to be kind of a green space initially. But as far as the zoning and that, it doesn't need to be rezoned. It can be housing,
Yeah,
correct?
Sorry, Justin Craig, Environmental Services Director. From what I can recall right now, that the parcel of land is zoned as rural residential or suburban residential, and there's 3 parcels in it now, I believe. But it wouldn't need to be rezoned, it would just need to be
Just platted.
platted.
Go through the plating process again a little bit more.
Sure. So I would have a pre-platting conference with Adam where we could discuss anything that I know that you guys may ask for, what needs he would have. They would pay the fees, provide all the documentation that we would need to schedule the public hearing. So once they submit the preliminary plat, we would go through the process of creating letters, basically certified letters to mail to every resident within 1,000 feet of that property, stating we're gonna have a public hearing on such and such date at this time, and this is our location. Then the planning and zoning will have the meeting. The applicant can make their presentation, the public can speak, the planning and zoning commission can ask questions, anything, you know, they want, and then they will make a recommendation on approval of the preliminary plat. Once they do that, I'll schedule a meeting with the county commission to present that to you. Once again, the applicant can make their presentation, the public can speak. Go down. Once the preliminary plat application is approved, like I said, they have a year to submit the final application for the plat. We will have another planning and zoning meeting. That one's, it's a public session, the public can come, but it's not a public hearing. We don't mail out letters for that second meeting. They'll make their recommendation based on the information that night, and then it will come to the county commission for final approval of the final plat.
Can water, I guess, surveys be a part of that process, requested through the plating process?
I believe it can be made as a requirement through the county commission or the planning and zoning commission. I think can make that requirement, but should the planning and zoning commission make that requirement, that could be vetoed by you, I believe.
But we would only make that recommendation when it would be brought forth to us at our commission meeting for the preliminary plat.
I believe you could make that a stipulation for the final plat application.
Do
when
you
it's turned in.
recall on the Yosemite, I feel like we put some covenants in there on water usage.
I don't recall specifically, but I believe there was limits on like watering, and they couldn't have so many animals, and
Yeah.
I don't remember specifically what
But
they had.
I don't know if we, as a county, put that on, or if they
Developer.
I think the developer
imposed
put
it.
that in themselves.
Developer did.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all the questions I have, thank you.
All right, thank you.
There have been several developments that the county commission, either at the preliminary or final plating process, has requested stormwater study to ensure that the flow is correct, the culverts are correct, done speed studies to ensure that the speeds are right, the stop signs are right. And then we've also done some surveys that were produced in regards to, not necessarily a water survey, but we've had results of drilling wells to show that they're the adequate water wells, or inadequacy, whichever way you look at it, to be provided as well. So those are several examples that have been done over the years.
Right now, Darren, out there is no fire protection. Is there any fire hydrants that, that'd be another thing for your people to research in. You get a fire hydrant, your guys' insurance will drop tremendous.
questions? I think everything got answered. There is a proposed motion. Do I hear a motion from a commissioner?
Yeah, I'll move to approve resolution 2025-16, establishing the Big Creek Estates Third Edition RHID, adopting the proposed development plan and approving the form of developing an agreement.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion or comments?
I think we can address most of the concerns through the plating process, and again, stating the RHID as a tool for developing.
Yeah, I hear the water concerns. I got them written down here, and I think we can kind of continue to address those through the process, but I guess from my standpoint, this tool, as far as whether this area can be developed or not, that's not really the question, because it can be developed. If this is just a tool from our standpoint, I guess, is to develop it quicker, create a taxing base that I feel like it's going to benefit the residents of the county as a whole overall. So those are my general comments, but there's still a process to work through. We got a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, passes 3-0. City of Gorham Road Assistance Request. Justin Suck up here.
Thank you.
Guys. Thank you to the public.
So I'm Justin Sokup with City of Gorham, and we were looking for other options for doing chip sealing on our streets. We run into problems with Russell County with their equipment and personnel, so we didn't know if it was an option to ask Ellis County to come over a mile into another county and do any work for us, which we would incur all the costs for material and any others if we needed to. But we're just seeing if it's even a possibility, so.
I don't have a problem helping out our neighbors. However, I don't feel that using county machinery for, that would be considered commercial work in my aspect is probably the best thing to do. So not when there's commercial outfits that could do that.
Okay.
That's kind of where I'm gonna stand on that one.
Matt, have you researched into anything as far as maybe leasing a lay-down machine to help you? Or is there nothing out there?
Our issue is, you know, we have one employee
Okay.
for the entire town, and that's me, so, yeah, I can't run other equipment all at the same time.
Can't do it all at once.
So,
Like I said, I mean, I can appreciate the offer to help and looking to help, but once we move outside our county borders, it gets kind of fuzzy.
right.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's wise for us to do that.
If it had been brought to us sooner, possibly, but you
Right.
don't know that one.
And it wouldn't have to be necessarily this year, if anything in the future, even into next year, if it's, you know, something that, if there's a cost base on, you know, with your equipment and whatnot coming over there, then where it would be a bid, I guess, in a way, for the extra cost, and, you know, if we'd be able to make an agreement possibly.
Okay.
And that would have to be determined by Public Works Director also, and
We'd have to
then us.
We'd
Yes.
have to have further discussion on
Yes.
it, if that was
Yes.
available. Because I know the Public Works is
Yeah.
kind of loaned machinery out in the past to neighboring counties. They've worked back and forth. But as far as us going over and doing the work, I don't
I don't
yeah. think that's a wise-
We're too strapped right now too,
Nope,
so.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming in
Yeah.
and speaking to us and asking. I guess don't hesitate to maybe ask if it's something maybe next year or later on again. My initial, when this came across, my initial was like, oh, that's I kind of think it was all right to do in a way, but in the last week, there's a few other requests that are gonna come from other, within, like Victoria's gonna, and we've done some help as a county for some of our other cities, and it's kind of gotten to the point now they're kind of asking more often all the time. So it's kind of one of those things, where do we draw the line? And unfortunately for you here, Gorham, the county line's where I got to draw it to, so.
That is fine. I appreciate it.
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Probably could have had him earlier instead of sitting through all our other. Ambulance purchase, Ms. Denise Schrader.
Good morning, Danita Schrader, Ellis County
Morning.
EMS. So, with some of our discussions about ambulance purchases, we were talking about doing remounts this time for our ambulances that are due to be replaced. I did get bids from 4 companies, and I think I included that in this little spreadsheet showing what they all bid. And I incorrectly stated that RL Enterprises was the cheapest. They are not the cheapest, but the cheapest company was Osage. But if you look at the chart, they're out till 2029 to even start the process. I didn't include that in here. So the next is RL Enterprises. And basically all the warranty among all 4 of them are basically the same. One of them did not include graphics in the cost. And RL Enterprises is accepting one of our old units that's getting replaced this October. We usually put those on Purple Wave. And I believe the last unit that we sold went for around $15,000, and they're gonna give us $15,000 for this unit as well. So that's a guaranteed for that to go towards the cost of this. For remounting, so basically what they do is we get a new chassis, the front end part, and they go through they take the box off the back and they strip it down, redo everything on it. You'll have new paint, new wiring, new hardware, lighting, and seating. They'll replace all of that. So it's basically like getting a new ambulance, and they're just reusing the box. And our boxes are in very good shape. We don't have the salt water that rusts them all out here, but and we keep them clean and up to date. So I guess is what I'm asking. We're due for 2. We're actually due for 1 this year, and then I had budgeted for 1 next year. So they stated to me that we could start the one here this fall, and hopefully they'll have it done by December, and then they would come and pick up the other one, delivering that one back, and then taking the other one back at the first of the year. And the process takes about 3 to 4 months for them to do that. So we would have the new ambulances all done by next year. I guess any other questions?
Well, on your chassis, I see you have the E450 gas. Is there?
Yeah.
You've stated in the past.
So with these boxes, they are what we call the old van style, and they're specifically made that size for those chassis. So we will have to go back. The diesel's no longer available, so we will go back to the gas, which we don't like, but we will just work it through and deal with it.
Do they have a bigger fuel tank option or a larger fuel capacity for your trips or your transfers that you have?
I think they're about the same.
Okay.
But we have found that we're doing a lot better and getting to Kansas City on 1 tank at least, and then filling up. But
Okay.
so
Okay, that was a concern.
okay.
Do these vehicles get inspected yearly or not?
Our mechanic.
Underneath?
Our mechanic does
Okay.
what would you call, like a mechanical inspection, and checks all the engine, everything out, and the electrical components, everything for us every year.
Because once them boxes are off, then you're gonna see when the people see
Yeah.
that. So that's why I was asking that question.
Yeah. And,
Okay.
and I really like them replacing all the wiring as
Mhm.
well, they said, instead of other companies sometimes just reuse the wiring in there. And if we have a gremlin somewhere in there, sometimes they're really hard to find. So I think putting that new wiring in there helps a lot.
So, budget-wise, is this all coming out of 25 or one's 25? Because one's 26 for as far as when we're ordering, but how's it fall on budget payment?
You can.
So it's all out of Fund 16, which we have general fund operating funds from Danita's operating budget gets transferred into Fund 16, which is the capital plan. There is significant funds in that, even if we were to spend more than what she has until 2026 starts, because all departments are in there collectively, and there's, I don't remember the balance, but it's several $1 million. But we do have this budgeted, and so there is no shortage that would be occurring in this with these two purchases. We would if the commission approves today both purchase orders, even the cots, it would not impact anything within the capital fund for this year or 2026. It is pretty much right in line with what we had budgeted for those remounts.
I just like the fact that they can get to them sooner than 29,
Yes.
because that is a service we
Yeah,
provide,
it's-
and it's important.
And like Darren and I had talked, I don't know how they would guarantee a 2029 chassis, you know, at the same price, so
Yeah.
what they're offering their bid.
Okay, I'll move to approve PO 7940 and 7941 to accept two bids from R Enterprises LLC for ambulance remounts of 2 units.
I'll second that.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the table. Any further questions or discussion?
No.
Darren?
Just to build on your question for the capital plan that was just approved, wow, that was this month already still, September for 2026. Danita does have $303,000 budgeted in this year and $303,000 budgeted for 2026 for those two vehicles. So as you can see, one vehicle was roughly 187, 189, and 197.
182, yeah, and then 197.
So each vehicle, there's a cost savings of what is budgeted by over $100,000 apiece, which the next agenda item will eat into that a little bit with the striker cot purchases, because that does include the second agenda item here, but there is significant cost savings. And I think when Danita and I looked at the two of those together, after the cots are purchased from what is budgeted, it's about $160,000 less than what we had budgeted.
And that second unit is more expensive just because we don't have a trade-in than another ambulance.
But we will have that for sale then, that unit afterwards, right? No?
No. So they're remounting.
Oh,
So it's the same box and then
Okay.
just a new chassis. So it's
Got it.
virtually the same ambulance, they're just redoing it.
okay.
They will keep the
Yeah.
two chassis that are getting re-chassied. We'll keep the box on two new chassis. They'll keep the old chassis, and
Yeah.
whatever they choose to do with them at their business is their
Got it.
pleasure. But the one that they'll buy is the one that's currently almost here for
Yeah.
delivery in about a month.
Yes.
That's the one they'll give us that $15,000 to reduce that purchase price of the first remount.
Okay.
Okay. So we're buying it at 182, but we'll get a reimbursement of 15,000 at some point. That'll go
That's with
back
the
to the
that's
account.
with the reimbursement.
Oh, that's the 182 is with
Yes,
it, so it would
yes.
have been whatever that is.
The
Quick math,
197.
197. Okay. Okay.
So you said there's going to be a savings, but we're gonna use it up on striker. What kind of savings? What number was that again? 160?
So
I had about 108,000.
108, yeah, for the striker.
Well, and that's with the cot.
Okay.
And I'll explain that here too.
Okay, sorry, got ahead of you.
Okay. So we do have a motion and a second on the table. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No opposed, passes 3-0. And striker cots.
So the second item I have, of course, with new ambulances, we've been trying to replace the cots and the power loads every year. So I know we'd had this discussion before when I bought the cot, but the striker representative did call me, and these are going up 3 to 4% here in October. And then he offered me some of the cots, the same model that we have currently now. And he said that another company had ordered 10 of them and then they backed out. So he's able to give those to us at a discount of about $10,000 each. So with that, we're gonna stay with the same model of cot that we have. And I know you had asked before about going to the newer model. Really, there's only a couple different changes. I think there's a different grab bar on it, and I think you can shrink it just a little bit more. And then it has a different power system, which includes new batteries and new chargers, all that stuff. And those newer ones are about $10,000 more, $10,000 more dollars than the model we currently have. And the model we currently have is great. We love it. It does everything we need it to do. So I would like to stick with those and get these last two. And then in the future, we're not due for another replacement until 2028. And then we can see if that's still serving our purpose or if we need to start looking at some other companies if they have the same products. So I would like to get the two new the Power Pro cots that go with them with the power load. And I think that's it. They will they are giving us a discount on one of the power loads with a like replacing it. They'll take it for a trade-in. We thought about keeping one of them just for parts that we have now. We had one laying in the back, and we've basically stripped it all down, and it's actually saved us a lot of money just stripping parts off of it. So we'd like to keep another one. But then the representative said that he will put me in touch with a guy that will buy our other cots and give us some money back as well, the used cots.
Okay, I'll move to approve PO 7942 in the amount of $108,817.30 to purchase 2 Stryker Power Pro cots and 2 Stryker Power Loads.
I'll second that.
Okay. Got a motion and a second on the table. Any further discussion, comments?
The only comment I have is last week at the meeting, there was some discussion on how, you know, we're trying to save money. Here's a good example how we shifted it, and so yeah. That's all I have.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No opposed, passes 3-0.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Got enough time to do this real quick. Ellis County Library Board appointment. So we have a selection appointment of a new Ellis County Library Board. Ben Domi is moving, so he has to, is giving up his seat. And so we have a position available to fill immediately on October 1st to expire April 30th. We did have 2 individuals put in an application, Dylan Bryant and Dawn Gable. If there's a preference, otherwise, as we did a couple weeks ago, I'll draw from a hat. But I think both are fine candidates. I don't have any differential between them.
The only thing and I don't remember specifically, but I know Dylan Bryant had applied the first round, and not certain on this Gable, but.
Yeah, she did not. I didn't see her on that.
So, I guess my suggestion would be to appoint Mr. Bryant, as he had applied twice now.
I can agree with that, because I actually reached out to Dylan to apply,
Okay.
knowing he had an interest. I talked to him prior. And so by my urging, I'd asked him to apply. He applied, and
Okay.
he was the only one until in the last week, so.
I mean, I have nothing against this Dawn Gable, but just looking back, we We had a lot of good candidates our first round, and he wasn't able to get on then, but I think now would be a good time.
I know I look back and there was like 12 or 13 of them on the sheet, and she was not on there, but he was, so, yeah, and he's shown interest again, so.
Yeah.
Then I'll move to appoint Dylan Bryant to the Ellis County Library's vacated position effective October 1st, 2025.
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second on the table. Any further discussion, comments?
Nope.
With that, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No opposed, passes 3-0. With that, I have to run off. I'll let the commission finish the next few items.
Okay.
Apologize. There's a couple of those I won't sign since I won't be able to.
Okay. Okay.
Hurry, Neil, we can get him to vote yet.
Tax foreclosure on sales resolutions 2025-15. Mr. Bill Jeter.
Bill Jeter, County Councilor. We're at that time of year again to initiate tax foreclosure. Statutorily, we're required, or the commission is required to direct me to initiate a tax foreclosure petition if we have delinquent taxes on property with a valuation, total valuation of $300,000 or more, or delinquent taxes of $10,000 or more, which we have once again, and we do every year. So, and I think you've been provided a list of properties. We got 15 properties, totaling as of August 26th of 2025, $44,394.56. So I am here on my behalf, and also the Treasurer's Office, Vern Reuter and Amanda Shannon, to authorize us to initiate a new tax foreclosure action for 2025.
And these properties listed, they are more than 1 year delinquent, are they not?
What we've done, you can initiate a tax foreclosure on residential properties if they're 3 years or more delinquent.
Okay.
On commercial properties and rental properties if they're 2 years or more delinquent. If you have property that's been abandoned, you can do that on 1 year delinquency. We've always just used the 3 years, so we don't have to go out and investigate properties and see if they're owner occupied or rental property. It just works better for us. So each of these properties is 3 years delinquent.
Okay.
And there's a number of these taxpayers that this is not the first go-around.
Okay.
The taxes seem to not get paid until we initiate a foreclosure, and then they'll get them caught up before the sale, and then 3 years later, they'll pop up again.
Okay. Okay.
And there's nothing that can be done. It's just.
No, I mean, that's their choice.
Yep.
And it's not, economically, it's not a wise decision because you're paying penalty and interest.
Yep.
And the cost of having a title policy, title commitment written every year so that I know who I need to sue. So it's not financially, it's not, doesn't make any sense, but some
Yeah.
people just do it that way.
Okay. Well, with that, I move to approve resolution, make sure I'm on the right one, sorry. I move to approve resolution 2025-15 and authorize the county councilor to start action on delinquent real estate taxes process.
And I'll second that. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. County Councilor contract, Darren Myers.
I like the meetings where I don't have to talk a whole lot. It's kind of different. Darren Myers, County Administrator. Last item on your agenda tonight is for consideration of updating and renewing Councilor Bill Jeter's contract and retainer amount for his services to Ellis County. As you can see within the documents there, Mr. Jeter did provide us with a lot of history dating, I believe it was back into the 70s, which I thought was quite interesting with his several decades of service to the Ellis County Commission and all of our staff for the amount of services he does. Throughout the budget process for 2026, several months ago at one of the commission meetings, the commission asked to review the contract with Mr. Bill Jeter, and the commission, your intent was to look at that contract and provide a cost adjustment, as that has not been done for many years for Mr. Jeter. So before you tonight, after consulting with Mr. Jeter, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody, but our staff greatly appreciates the work that he does. He's very prompt. He enjoys meeting with us, I think, and we enjoy having his services to us. He's always very welcome and helps us, and just as he is with you here in our commission meetings. So I highly recommend renewing this, and I'm appreciative that the commission took this under consideration for Mr. Jeter. So with that, I'll stand for any questions, but basically before you is the approval to update his contractual agreement for his monthly stipend. Or not stipend, but retainer amount, sorry.
I have no questions.
I have none
It's the
either.
right direction.
I'll move to approve the attached agreement with Mr. Bill Jeter for services as Ellis County Counselor effective January 1st of 2026.
We'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, County Administrator report.
Just one real quick update. Last night, Commissioner Burgess and I attended the City of Ellis meeting with Brendan McKay, and we had Penco Engineering Services there to discuss the 10th Street Bridge, as it was the commission's intent that we continue to have that discussion of what that bridge looks like and what the city's intentions of what they would like to see the bridge for width and sidewalk, et cetera, for what they can afford. So very productive meeting, and Mayor McDaniel also asked us to talk a little bit about the EMS facility that we're discussing with the bond, and the sales taxes. We're starting to look at the sales tax in a few years. They were very appreciative of the conversation, and the comment I heard after the meeting, well, two comments, basically the same thing from two different people, is that the city council in Ellis very much appreciates the communication that the Ellis County is starting to have with the city of Ellis, and they appreciate the work that we're doing, but also allowing the time to work through some of these projects. So I thought I would share that with the commission. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lightger?
I have no report this morning.
Busy for me, but not real busy in a different way. Only thing I done was went to the Astra Bank ribbon cutting. Other than that, the other thing, I've had two individuals call me and ask me what my salary is here at and both of them said, well, that's not very much. And I said, well, that's what it is. So they just said they couldn't believe that we're doing that kind of service for the county for that least amount of money. And I said, well, we're trying to help everybody. So that's all I have. And no executive sessions? Okay. Okay, meeting adjourned at 10:02. I have no hammer.
Yeah, it's gone. They cleaned it out.
Yeah.